My name is Morgan Walker with HomeSmart Lifestyles, and I wanted to hop on here for our Tuesday tips to talk to you guys about the appraisal when you are buying or selling a home. Okay, so the appraisal is something that the lender requires. So a lender is not going to require an appraisal for every single home, but most of the time they are. The times that they won't require the appraisal are if you're putting a significant amount of money down, which is more than the typical 20%. But again, it has to be a very significant amount that you're putting down. The other time that an appraisal would not be required is if you're purchasing the home cash and there is not a lender involved, then the appraisal won't be required. But for most home purchases, you are going to be required to have an appraisal done. And most of the time, the payment of the appraisal is done by the buyer. So the buyer is responsible for paying for that. In the sales contract, it is negotiable on who pays with, but I'd say about 95% of the time it gets paid by the buyer. And so the appraisal gets ordered by the lender. Most times we'll order this after the inspection period just to make sure that everything is good with the house and you are going to go through with it, because we don't want you to pay for the appraisal if we find out the roof is 50 years old and you need a completely new roof and you don't want to pay for that. So usually we order the appraisal after the inspection period. Occasionally it will get ordered earlier than that if we're trying to do a quicker close, but typically that's what we see. And so then the lender will order the appraisal, and the appraiser will go out to the property and view it. So if you're selling your home, when you're getting ready for the appraisal, just make sure your house is neat and tidy. It just looks better for the appraiser. But there's not really much else that you need to do besides that. Your listing agent, such as myself, I will most likely prepare some comparable homes in the neighborhood to show the appraisers, say, hey, this is why we listed the price or the house at the price we did. Just to kind of show them that, this is a reasonable price that we're asking for the house. And so then the buyer just waits for that appraisal to come back. It usually takes about a week. And then once their appraisal is received back, we'll know if there's any conditions that need to be met. Exposed wiring, peeling paint, those are all things that will be required to be repaired in the appraisal. Most times I don't see anything that's required in the appraisal, but again, it just depends on the type of loan you're doing and the condition of the home. Sometimes repairs are required by the appraisal. And then the appraisal will also give you the value of the home. So this is where it gets kind of fun. So if the appraisal, let's say the house is under contract for $250,000. and the appraisal comes back at $260,000. That's awesome. The buyer is buying the house with equity in the house, but here's the catch. They don't have to tell the seller what the house appraised for. So they'll just tell the seller the house appraised for at least the purchase price, and that's all they have to say. And then they get some equity in their home. I'll be honest that in my experience, I've rarely seen that happen where they get equity in the home, where the purchase price is below the appraisal value, but occasionally it does happen. Lots of times we see the appraisal come right in at that purchase price. If you've listed your house at the right value based on the comps in the neighborhood, you're not trying to get a significant amount more than what other homes have gotten in your neighborhood, you're going to get the appraisal come right in right at the purchase price value. There are times when the appraisal will come in below value. And then if this happens, one of three things will happen. Either the buyer is required to come up with the cash to make up the difference, the buyer and seller can meet in the middle and come to some sort of compromise, or the seller will just drop the price to the appraised value. So that's one of three things that can happen, and it can go either way just depending on a lot of different variables. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you about it and what those variables could be and what you could do if your appraisal does happen to come in low. Again, if the house is priced right, if it's comparable to the other homes that have been selling in your neighborhood, that appraisal should come in right at value. So please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to do a complimentary CMA for you if you are getting ready to sell your home or thinking about it, so I can let you know what a good price would be for your neighborhood and for your particular property. I can be reached by phone or text at 480-292-1349. You can feel free to send me a message on social media, or you can send me an email as well. If you have any questions regarding the appraisal process, please reach out to me. My name is Morgan Walker, and I'm a real estate agent with HomeSmart Lifestyles.